buying plátanos from South America instead of being able to grow it ourselves. Again, it's the devastation of all the hurricanes that have happened. But why are we not quick to replant those things and reap the beautiful benefits of the land there in Puerto Rico? I mean, it's meant for growing shit, not strip malls and Walmarts. And that's what's happened. So some places are not meant to be modernized. You understand? It's an island. So let me not get off track here. This is a good conversation. This is a fun conversation. All right? Have fun with me. This is, by the way, just off the cuff. You know, I decided I haven't addressed the troops in a while, the Sucio mob out there. So I said, let me do a shout outs and ramblings today. Let me tell everyone what I've been thinking of, what's been going on with me, right? You don't have to care, but you got to respect it. All right, here we go. Ate at Senor Bear with some peeps that I met up in Aspen, and the man, Miles Fisher, at Peak Beverage. That was the second podcast in Denver that I did. It was dope to see him, speak with him. And again, hospitality there. Let me stay at his crib and let me, do what I needed to do to get on the way. Rolled me a joint, sent me on the way with some herb and some hash, right? On my drive over to Michael Corvino's spot in Kansas City, right? So Corvino Supper Club and Tasting Room, I mean, the fucking meal was amazing. The fried chicken, the fucking beignets, the seaweed beignets with like creme fraiche and trout roe were fucking fire. You can find those on my page, Instagram page. I posted those October 28, 2021. That's when I was in Kansas City. All right. Beautiful food. The uni toast was so fire. The fried chicken was dope. And then they had this fried rice dish. Just, well done food, cool cocktails, cool beer, cool lounge. There's a piano there and they're playing piano and hanging out, having a good time, right? Michael Corvino, shout out to you. Corvino Supper Club and Tasting Room. Thanks for being on the podcast. You're the man. That was one again through Andrew Chang, Kansas City, Missouri. If you're out there, definitely go to Corvino Supper Club for sure. They also have a little fine dining area that I did not try, but check it out. Then we got my man Justin McMillan. He works for Niche Food Group in St. Louis, Missouri. He was the man as well. He brought me out for Thai food. Had a big time. A lot of ums on this one, right? He had a major role in, maybe I'll slow it down so there's less ums, opening up Single Thread. So shout out to Justin McMillan. Memorable podcast, Above a Restaurant. I explain where I am inside. Sometimes I black out, guys. I really can't keep track of where I'm at all the time. I'm in all different places, shaking babies and, kissing babies and shaking hands. You know what I mean? Then I went to, and I'm not saying that this was the best restaurant ever in the world. I'm not saying that. But I will say that the meal at Catbird Seat was one of the greatest experiences on the whole road trip. Because after I went from St. Louis, I went to Nashville. Nashville is a dope food city. Don't go to Broadway. That's a waste of fucking time. Go to the east side. That's where it's at. Had a great meal at Catbird Seat. Just fucking badass, dude. From the tea, you can see that. See it on my Instagram page. I posted November 1st, 2021. It's just the kind of restaurant I want to have. It's beautiful in there, and the whole restaurant is there for you to see. The water machine, fucking the POS system, it's a real, right? And there's seats all around this counter, and it's just 14 seats. And the Catbird Seat is a fucking historic restaurant, right? That's where Eric Anderson made his name, and a bunch of other chefs that I failed to fucking research before I did the podcast. But that's okay, right? Because you don't need to know everything. But I'll write it down and I'll learn that, right? And it'll make me better, right? Through my fault, I become better. Great restaurant. I'm talking, I think it was like 18 courses. Wow. It was some of the most fire food, cutlery, plates, technique, vibe, Black Sabbath, fucking slamming in the background while they were doing this fucking beautiful, elegant food. And you know what I noticed? Because they were playing straight metal. No one cares. No one gives a fuck. All the people are like, we have to play like dining room music. If I hear Save Room for Love one more fucking time, I'm going to kill myself. You understand? That's just suciotalk, baby. I can't censor myself, right? Otherwise, the show wouldn't be the show. So I want to take this moment to acknowledge all the people that I've ever offended. You don't have to agree with 100% of the things that I say, but it is just perspective, right? It's one man's opinion. One man cannot change the world, but many men can. All right, many men and women, right? Can change the fucking world. So here we go on the journey. One more time. Catbird Seat was fucking bomb. Then I go to Husk. Another one. Great meal. Benjamin Norton was then on the podcast. Benjamin Norton is the man. The biscuits were fucking fire. I mean, the plates, the settings, the beautiful little intricacies of the dishes for it being simple food. It was fucking just amazing. Then I went to Locust. Another one of my greatest experiences during this road trip. I mean, I come in with an Obituary shirt on, right? Because I'm going to see them the next day. And he fucking blast Obituary. And I'm talking about like, ooh, like deep, dark, heavy metal, death metal. And it was the dopest experience. Again, no one gave a fuck what was playing on the radio because we were all intrigued with the food and just the little things. We got some shrimp. The shrimp cake was fire. The marinated cucumbers, the razor clams. I mean, just the shellfish was so fresh. The fish carved tableside by Chef Trevor Perkins, the man. Just a cool ass dude. I'm gonna have him on the podcast at some point. We'll see when we cross paths. Then I took a dip over to Asheville, North Carolina, from Nashville. From Nashville to Asheville to Asheville. All right, that's where I went. Asheville was dope. Would I live there? Probably not. No offense to everybody that lives there, but it's not my scene. But I'm always happy to see these little like spots of passion throughout the city. Right? There's some arts bubbling there. There's a lot of beer there. A lot of cool, quaint nightlife, if you will. Not so wild and crazy party, but it's a nice vibe out there, right? I went to Avenue M. I ate there with Scott Champa, who's the man. He was on the first episode of the Asheville, North Carolina series. I also did one with Andrew McLeod, the chef of Avenue M. So that was a cool kind of moment where I got to do a podcast with somebody, then take them out to dinner at the place with that had the chef that I was going to do the podcast with. And shout out to Andrew McLeod for getting his crew some Nerf balls to throw around before service. Remember that there's more that you can do before service, lineup-wise, that can motivate your team. Whether it's clapping and cheering, whether it's stretching, going outside, throwing a football. There's 15 minutes. That's all it takes, man. And we can say that we're busy and we don't have that 15 minutes, but if it was for mise en place, we would make the time, right? So this is mental mise en place. This is what you need to succeed throughout the day. So it's a good 10 to 15 minute break, is fine, man. Just the whole team goes out, after staff meal. No staff meal, you're not eating. You're just chilling, socializing. I always said, what's wrong with having a beer on the back porch? That's wrong. You can't be feeding your employees alcohol. That shit gets out of hand easily, right? So, but maybe there's a way that we could do that. Maybe it's a big, large format beer, and we just have a little bit just to get in the mood, baby. Not saying you need enhancers, but it could be fun. You know? Asheville was a dope meal. Asheville. Fucking Avenue M was a dope meal. Some cool shit. The white broccoli was fire. They had some lentils and sausage that was dope. Very old school plating. I enjoyed that. From Asheville, I went to DC. Shout out to Anju. Anju is Angel Barreto's spot in DC. He's a Puerto Rican chef, half black, half Puerto Rican chef, putting out some of that delicious Korean food. So representing a lot of cultures. Honestly, man, the speaker of truth. That man is a prophet. Whether, you know, it's hard sometimes, and I feel like for certain people to be great because they can't accept that they're great. There's always some kind of imposter syndrome or like, man, I shouldn't like gloat like that, right? You can have that inner confidence that lets you know that you're doing the right thing, that you're moving the right way, and like who's going to celebrate you more than yourself, right? There's no accolade in the world that could help you do that. I know chefs that have fucking all the accolades in the world that are not the happiest people in the world, right? So it's all about how you treat yourself every day. And this man treats himself with love and respect. You know, he respects his time off. And when he's in the zone at the restaurant, he's in the zone at the restaurant. I mean, he was best new chef this past year, 2021. So, you know, God bless him. He's a great dude. Fellow Boricuan badass. Love the man. The meal was great. That's some delicious fucking food there. And then, what did I do? It was a bang bang. What did I do? I went to the Reverie, Johnny Sparrow's spot, because I did a podcast with him. Special shout out to Joseph Geiskoff, chef, the man. He was my hot date that night. We had a great time. He's a tall motherfucker too, man. He'd be like 6'11" and shit. Just like, you know, you feel like he's taking you out on a date. You're like, all right, daddy, what are we ordering? But great time. He's a family man too, and I love that. I love that at this age, that's who I'm chilling with, is responsible parents. Am I right? Shout out to all the ones that take care of theirs. Just a great tasting menu with all these different flavors that I honestly I wasn't expecting. Like you know, you when you go to many restaurants, you know what tastes good, right? Obviously. And this restaurant was just different. This shit hit different, you know? It had a lot of complexity to it, to the menu, and the plates were beautiful, and the space is welcoming, and it's just like you could feel Johnny Sparrow there, you know? You could feel him, for sure. Mainly because he was touching me, but also because he was cooking great food, right? And the team was, right? The team was cooking the great food. So moving on, right, from DC, it's kind of weird because I'm looking at my Instagram to help tell this story, and I'm like going to restaurants and then dropping podcasts on the way. So I forgot to mention that the Catbird Seed, Brian Baxter was the podcast that I did. I apologize. It was outside. What do you want me to do? He had a busy kitchen that day. I'm not trying to fuck anybody's shit up. So we went outside. We did the podcast. It is what it is. We'll get another one recorded when I got a fucking studio and I can fly people out, and motherfucking Suciotalk is balling. All right? But it was a dope conversation with a dope-ass dude who, again, was playing the music that he loved to play and cooking the food that he loved to cook, right? Which is the chef's dream. Correct? Catbird Seat in Nashville. Dope. I let you know that we had Benjamin Norton on, right? And, shout out to fucking Trevor Perkins. My man flew out from San Francisco to Nashville to meet up with me. I've only met him once at the Sean Brock brunch, which was a shit show on the kitchen end, but the crowd had a good time, so whatever. But one of the dopest dudes, man. Fucking chilling out with him and his girl Ashley and Robichon the Frenchie. You know, shout out to all of them. They made my stay in Nashville so cool. We went out to eat a bunch of times. We had a great time. Their dog is one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen in my life. And, you know,